This is the bike that I've just raced, or ridden, you can be the judge of that, in the inaugural Steamboat gravel race. I picked it up yesterday from 3 of the key event partners who very kindly supplied it. So Canyon, Mavic, who supplied the wheels and the tyres, and Stages, who supplied a power meter and their brand new Dash L50 head unit. There is a video over on GCN which tells a story of my race, but in this one we're going to go through the equipment that I used. Now, bear in mind that I picked it up yesterday. This morning I rode 140.8 miles on it, so it was quite the baptism of fire for it and me. Now, as I said, Canyon supplied most of the bike. You will know simply by looking at it that it is a Canyon Grail. It's the CF SLX. This is the 8 model. Now, the reason I say that you already know this is because of those very distinctive handlebars up front. So the idea behind them is that they actually give you much more compliance, because where you would normally hold on and then where it's attached to the stem, there is no stem. So you get that extra give in it. It's the first opportunity I've had to spend any real time on them. And in addition to the compliance, one thing that struck out at me was actually the alternative hand positions you get. So whereas I wouldn't normally advocate resting forearms on a handlebar, with these you can rest them on the top section and hold on to the bottom section, which is kind of cool. So you can get a little bit more aero. Now, the rest of the bike, it's the top end model, so like I said, the CF SLX, which means that the frame weighs just 865 grams, which is super light for a road bike, but for a gravel bike, that really is quite impressive. The geometry on there, it's probably slap bang in the middle of our gravel bike spectrum, so quite racy in terms of the fact that you've got 425mm chainstay, so that's quite short. You've also got a nice low bottom bracket, but because of the way those handlebars sit, you technically have a shorter stem, so the bike itself is a little bit longer, so you get a bit more stability through the wheelbase. Speaking of wheels, as I said at the beginning, Mavic very kindly supplied a set for us. These are the All-Road Pro Carbon SLs. So they weigh just 1,450 grams, full carbon rim, 23mm internal rim width, so really roomy for running gravel tyres. It's also hookless as well, so you do away with that little lip that you get on the sidewalls of the rim that's traditional on high pressure road tyres. But because you're running lower pressure gravel tyres, you don't need it, and it makes it easier to seat. It's the Mavic UST tubeless system, and on it we have, I don't honestly know how to pronounce it, but I'll give it a stab, the GCN Elite All-Road. So it's a 35mm option, this one. They do have a 40 as well, but a narrower, faster rolling tyre was, by common consensus, the tyre of choice for this inaugural Steamboat gravel race. If I go back to the rims for a moment though, one thing that is particularly interesting about them is Mavic was saying that they've been engineered with compliance in mind. So this is something that mountain bikers have been going on about for a few years now. And so rather than having a super stiff carbon fibre wheel, they've worked out that actually having a rim that's laterally stiff, so you get good power transfer and good handling in corners, but actually gives you vertical compliance. It's something that we often talk about with our frames and our handlebars, but rarely with a wheel. But yet this one takes technology from mountain bikers who, as I said, have worked out that actually a compliant wheel gives you better handling on bumpy terrain, and Mavic therefore have worked out that doing the same on bumpy gravel roads would be of benefit. Now, as you can see, I'm running this 1x. It's a SRAM Force 1x setup. I've got a 42 tooth chainring up front, and I'm running a 1042 cassette at the back. There is, however, not a SRAM left-hand crank, because I've got a Stages one instead. So this is a carbon Stages crank, and it's got their 3rd generation power meter on there. So it's a left side only one. It's accurate to plus or minus 1.5%, and it's also compatible with Bluetooth and Ant Plus devices. And interestingly, it's assembled by hand just about 3 hours away from here in Boulder, Colorado. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning, they were also kind enough to lend me their new Stages Dash L50 head unit. They've had a head unit out for a while now, but this is a new, larger version of it. So some key features. It's got a Stages Everbright LCD screen on there. It also has 14 hours battery life, and most interestingly of all, it runs open street maps on there. So there's an awful lot of detail, particularly cycling specific detail on there. Now, other contact points, I've got Look X-Track pedals on there. Those are just my own. And I've also got a Physique Aliante saddle. Now, most of the time I use a Physique Arione saddle. I'll be completely frank, I'm perfectly comfortable on both. I normally use the Arione on road bikes because I think it looks better on road bikes, but this, I think, is perfect for off-road bikes. The last thing I'll mention is that Topeak Dyna Wedge all-weather saddlebag. So I didn't run a top tube bag, I didn't run a handlebar bag, I didn't run a bum bag, I went minimalist, and so I went with a small, neat saddlebag. I think it's 0.35 litres capacity. In there, I've got 2 inner tubes, and I've also got a Mini 10 multi-tool, also from Topeak, and their super chain tool. So between the two, I get a proper full-size chain tool and the full spectrum of Allen keys that I need as well. I haven't unfortunately got the trusty GCN Tech weighing scales with me, so I can't give you the official figures as we stand right here. I can tell you that a standard Canyon Grail CF SLX 8 weighs 7.8 kilos. This one, of course, in its current running weight with saddlebag and head unit and GoPro attached, will weigh a little bit more. What I can do for you though is a Freehub sound check, because this has the new Mavic Instant 360 Drive Freehub on there, and it sounds great. So, are you ready for this? Yeah, you do. We'll just leave it a little longer. It also sounds really good when it's going slowly as well. See, told ya. Right, I better give this a thorough clean before I begrudgingly have to hand it back. In the meantime, make sure you get involved in the comments section. If you've got any questions about it, I will do my best to answer them. If you haven't seen the feature over on GCN, Can I Survive a Proper All-American Gravel Race, then do make sure you check it out now. The video is linked on screen. Otherwise, give this one a big thumbs up.